You walked into the career fair, grabbed a free tote bag, stood in line for 20 to 40 minutes, handed a recruiter your resume, and then they said, "We'll reach out." And you've never heard back from them again. And that's not really bad luck, that's just a broken strategy, and it's costing you internships and jobs that you needed to graduate with real experience. So I pulled internships at Apple and Verizon without a single connection in tech. And the one thing that changed everything wasn't my GPA or my projects. It was actually how I ran the first 3 minutes of every recruiter conversation. And I actually got a full time offer at Fidelity by doing this at a career fair. So by the end of this, you'll have a full word for word framework that you can use at your next career fair to walk out with an actual name, an actual follow up path, and a reason for them to remember you. So, first is the resume drop trap. Now, let me tell you exactly what happens on the recruiter side of the table because I've spoken to multiple recruiters and I know exactly what goes in their head and what they're thinking. So they're standing there for about 6 to 8 hours. Hundreds of students come up. Almost every single one of them opens with the exact same thing. They say, "Hi, I'm a junior studying computer science. Here's my resume." Something along those lines or close to that. You probably say this as well, so you know. And that's it. That's like the whole pitch. Sometimes they'll go in a little bit deeper, saying, "Oh, I did this or I did that." And yeah, and then they just wait. And the recruiter smiles, they take the resume, they're just saying something nice, and then they say, "Great, we'll be in touch." And then puts the resume back in the stack with 200 other ones. Or sometimes they'll say, "Oh, that's so great, you gave it to me. You can actually apply online," and they'll give you a QR code. And you're not a conversation to them, you're just a transaction. It's just formality at that point, and they don't want to be rude, so they either take your resume or they give you a QR code. It's not your fault either. Nobody teaches you this stuff. School certainly doesn't. But the students who actually get callbacks aren't doing anything crazy either. They're not. They're just not leading with the resume. So here's the flip. So instead of handing over your resume first, you will open with a question. Something like, "Hey, I've been looking at X company's work on blah blah blah. Is that team actually hiring this cycle, or is it a more generalist type roles?" So when you ask that, so that's the opener, right? So watch what happens. The recruiter actually has to engage. They have to answer you, and they stop being in transaction mode, and they start being in the conversation mode. So you just went from applicants 147 to a student who actually did their homework. So it's so important to do a little bit of research on a company so that you stand out like this. Now the resume doesn't go anywhere. You still hand it over, but now it's attached to a face and a conversation and not a pile. And they actually, you did something very unique. But knowing what to say means nothing if you're talking to the wrong person. Most students have no idea looking for, who they're actually looking for before they walk in. So the step is the pre-fair intel move. No one I know does this. But the people who succeed do this. So this part takes around 45 minutes the night before. And again, most people skip it. Please don't skip it. I promise you, I did this. It's so nice. It's like such a hack. So go to the career fair list. Your school probably posts it, or it's usually on Handshake or your career center site, or they emailed you. But pull up all the companies that are attending. You want to pick 3 to 5 targets. So not like 20, but pick 3 to 5 that you're really interested in. And for each one, go to LinkedIn and search for the company name plus university recruiter or campus recruiting. And you're not trying to connect with them tonight. You're just trying to understand what teams they actually staff from campus. Then go to their careers page and you want to find 1 to 2 open roles that are actually relevant for you. You're going to read the job description, find a specific technology, team, or project that's mentioned, and then you want to write one company per question. So that's literally like 5 questions, right? And I mean like a specific question, like an actual question, not something like "what's the culture like," or something general like, "Oh, I saw the role mentions experience with distributed systems. Is that something interns actually work with, or is that more senior? Or is X team one that recruits heavily on campus?" Like these questions do do 2 things, right? So one, they prove that you're prepared, and two, they force recruiters to give you real information about the role, and which helps you decide that if it's even worth pursuing yourself. And you walk in knowing 5 targets, knowing one specific thing about each one of them, and knowing the question you're going to open with. And everyone else is just walking in hoping for the best. Now that you know who you're targeting and what to say, here's the actual conversation structure that I personally do, and it ends with you getting something the other 200 or 400 or 1,000 other students don't leave with: the 3-minute conversation formula. So here's the thing that nobody tells you about career fairs: is the goal is not to impress a recruiter in 3 minutes. You cannot fully impress anyone in 3 minutes. Okay, just get that out of your head right now. The goal is to get a name. That's it. Just get a name. And here's the how the conversation flows. So first, you open with your prepared question. You want to make it specific. This immediately separates you, so you're already ahead. And then you want to qualify, right? So based on their answer, figure out if this company is actually worth your follow-up energy. If the recruiter says, "Oh, we're mostly looking for seniors," or if you're a sophomore, you just saved yourself some time. Or if they say we're really aggressively hiring for interns or full-time grads, then you lean in, right? So some companies are hiring specifically for interns, some are specifically hiring for full-time. But if they're hiring for interns, let's say, they might be just looking for juniors and seniors. So if you're like a freshman or sophomore, you may not fit in, right? So connect. So this is where you give your 30-second pitch. So not like a monologue or a highlight, just one project, just one result, or a relevant skill, and keep it 2 to 3 sentences. So like, hey, I built a full stack app that gets like 400 active users. It's actually made me want to look at backend roles specifically. And yeah, you just talk about that for like 30 seconds to a minute, I want to say. And that usually like shows them that you bring some value, and of course your resume as well, right? So as for the next step next. So this is the most important part, and nobody else does it. You say, so who's the best person I should follow up with directly after today? And that is the line you want to say 100%. Like, just memorize this line: who is the best person I should follow up with directly after today? Sometimes they give you their own email, sometimes they point you to a specific recruiter for your school. Either way, you leave with something, and not just, check our website, right? And when you hand over your resume now, it actually means something. So they put a face and a conversation to it. You're not just part of the pile, you're basically in their memory now. And getting the name is only the half of it. But what you do in the next 24 hours is the part that nobody talks about, and it's where most students completely drop the ball. So the next section is the 24-hour follow-up. So you have a 12-hour window after the career fair where your name still means something to that recruiter. So after 24 hours, it's cold. After 48, they've literally moved on. After a week, they don't know you. So this is how I turned a 5-minute career fair conversation into my Fidelity recruiter screen. I actually sent a LinkedIn message that night. It was 3 sentences, about 3 sentences, and that's all. Sentence one reminded them of who I am, with one specific detail about the conversation. So I said something like, "Hey, my name is blah blah. We talked at the university's fair today. I was the one asking about the question you asked, right?" And it could be like, "Oh, about the distributed systems work on your infra team," or something like that. Sentence two is to connect your background to what they told you and say, "Hey, I've been working with blah, blah, blah on a personal project, and I'd love to explore how that maps to what you're staffing for." Sentence three is the nail in the coffin. One clear, easy ask: would it make sense to connect with you with my resume and a quick portfolio link? And that's it. So that's it. No like essay. No, I hope this message finds you well. No, please consider me for any open opportunities. It's very short. It's very specific, and one action for them to take. And here's the thing: this is also where you attach or link your resume for the first time if you didn't hand it over, or you can even do it, or you can do it even if you did it. So it doesn't matter, right? Just make sure that they have the digital version. You already gave probably a hard copy version at the fair, but at the when you send that message, make sure you give a digital copy. So you did the prep work the night before, you ran the conversation formula at the fair, you sent the follow-up within 12 hours, and that's the really the system that I personally use. And most students do 0 out of these. Some do 1, but you did all 3, and that's, huge. It's not really about being the most impressive person in the room. It's about being the most prepared. Of course, if you have prior experience, that widens their eye even more. But if you do this, they'll at least know you. They'll at least remember you. And it's about being the most prepared and also most consistent after you leave it. So go ahead and use this at your next fair. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. But if this helped you, please like the video, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.